Yeah, get that better position. Yeah.
Well,
We've been
yeah,
off for two
it
weeks.
was. Well, yeah, it was. I mean, it was the microphone was in doggy, but I'd prefer missionary personally.
Yeah, you gotta get that thing in the right position because we've been off for 2 weeks. We're gonna have to give it to that mic real good.
Yeah. All right. This is episode 103 of the Battle of Ohio podcast. Sorry we missed an episode last week, guys. Both Thomas and I had a lot of stuff going on last week. He wasn't feeling good, and I had a ton going on. So we decided that we'd come back stronger this week rather than put out a half-ass episode last week and, just not have good content for you. But it works out because it gave the NFL during this weird period of time plenty of time to actually produce some new news to talk about. On the
Yep.
Bengals side of things, it sounds like they're expected to be major players in free agency this year. For the Browns, it sounds like they're expected to be major players in the trade market, including a potential certain quarterback who may or may not have stormed onto the market just hours before we started recording.
Ooh.
Finally, the Steelers' quarterback options are starting to dry up. Because why, Thomas?
Because Pittsburgh still sucks.
Yeah, that's right. They do.
Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
All right. So I guess I can't just like drop that and not talk about it first. So Thomas, from
You gotta talk about first.
a report that I saw from Pro Football Talk, which that's Mike Florio, and I guess we can talk about the credibility of Mike Florio at all in the first place. But it sounds like the Browns have, quote, done their homework on Deshaun Watson now that his criminal charges have been cleared up.
I really wish this would be an episode. I really wish I could just like. I wish we had Sir Yacht on this episode because I'd be like, Sir Yacht, you take it away. I don't want to do this.
Okay.
All right. Look. Okay. Like here's how I feel about it. I'm like, okay. Okay. When I vividly remember this conversation, I'm like, hey, I think I said it like this on this podcast. I don't want to talk about it, but it's coming up. I've been hearing reports about it. There's a chance the Browns might go after Deshaun Watson. And then you said, you looked me dead in the eye. You didn't say nothing for like a half a second. You were like, and I was like, fine. And then in my thought, I was like, yes, I completely agree with you. But in my head, I was like, come back up, leader. We're not going to be able to annoy it. We're not going to be able to ignore this at all. We're not going to be able to ignore this. This is going to come up later. And here it is.
All right, listen. I just want to point out, Thomas. You know how we have talked about, and I'm as much of a Baker Mayfield believer as anybody. But you know how much we have talked about on this podcast the rise of the Bengals and the Browns lately, and how we think that rivalry is going to come back to prominence. If the Browns trade for Deshaun Watson, this rivalry is going to get intense because of Joe Burrow and Deshaun Watson.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I ain't gonna sit here and argue with you and say that Baker Mayfield is a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson. I'm not going to throw that argument out there. But Deshaun Watson is probably one of the 5 quarterbacks in the NFL that's going to be a bigger headache than Baker Mayfield is.
Is he though? Like, I mean, like, he. I don't blame him at all, by the way, for wanting to get out of Houston. Houston is a shit show, and I would want to get at it. Like, I mean, I don't care who you are. If you don't want out of Houston, you're insane, because Jack Easterby is just a literally insane human being. And I mean, other than that, like, I mean, if Deshaun Watson's acquitted, then I don't want to accuse him of doing something. You know?
Yeah, I got you. I agree with you.
So I mean, outside
like,
when the criminal charges happened in the first place, my mind was blown. I was like, Deshaun Watson, really? I've never heard him say a negative thing about it. Nobody's ever said a negative thing about Deshaun Watson. This is crazy. So if the allegations are not true, I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to be a head case.
I see. Look, look. So, like, look, I have certain feelings about this. Like Kyle, I have a lot of certain feelings about this that I would love to share with you off of this podcast. But publicly, I'm keeping myself because the culture we live in. I say wrong thing here. 3 years later, when I'm famous on a tour, they'll be like, Thomas Sturgill said this about Deshaun Watson on his podcast back in 2022. Well, you know what? F you, whoever reporter's writing about me. So you know what? I'm gonna keep my mouth closed. I'm gonna be quiet. Not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna keep this football related.
Some of the things that some of the things you've said on this podcast before, you've already crossed that bridge, Thomas.
Oh, I crossed plenty of bridges. But you know, I okay. You don't look fine. You don't fine. Look, I'm just gonna look. John Watson's talent is elite. He's an elite quarterback. He's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. In college, he was one of my favorite quarterbacks. I wanted the Browns to draft him. I was really upset when they didn't draft him. I do think that the whole report, I do think the whole thing is weird. The whole story was weird against him. All that stuff. I thought it was a very weird thing. The whole thing was bizarre. I think it was bizarre. Don't want to go into details why I think it's bizarre, but it sounded bizarre. It didn't sound authentic to me. So, do I think he's innocent? But I'm not gonna go into that. But my whole thing is that I think the reason why I don't want Deshaun Watson on this team is because I feel like rooting for him is going to be exhausting. And I don't want that exhausting feeling that surrounds the Browns that it always does. I'd rather just roll it with Baker Mayfield and deal with that headache because these are the Cleveland Browns. Like, if there was one team, if there was one city that would be the worst situation possible for this guy, it would be Cleveland, Ohio. Because I promise you, Kyle, when you think that there's drama somewhere else, Cleveland finds a way to make drama 10 times worse. This city breeds drama.
But
Paul Newman's from Cleveland.
But outside of these allegations, there's been no drama surrounding Deshaun Watson other than the fact that he was like, okay, Houston, this is ridiculous. I want to be traded. But I don't think there's anything wrong with the player demanding to be traded. I think that's one of the powers that the players have to try to, to actually have some leverage over the owners and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't really see where Deshaun Watson's had a lot of drama to get stoked in Cleveland in the first place. Like, I mean, the one thing is, allegedly false, at least as far as the criminal charges. We'll see about the civil suits and whatever. But as far as the criminal charges, a court has found that to be false. So, there's no drama there. And then as far as again, the other drama, I think that's just entirely the Texans. It's just the Texans. It won't follow them.
I think Deshaun Watson is a very smart, strong young man. I think he's a very intelligent person. Like we always talk about, you listen to him in interviews, you listen to him. He always seemed like a very down-to-earth person. So I agree with you on that standpoint. And I think that him as a quarterback, he's elite. You put Deshaun Watson, you give him Nick Chubb and Jarvis Landry, you give him that defense, they're going to win a Super Bowl. Confident. I can say that.
No, they'll have to win the AFC North first.
They're going to be dangerous. But I think the other thing is that I just don't think that I honest to goodness believe that Baker Mayfield is a very good quarterback, and I think that him healthy is a very good quarterback. I think that he deserves an opportunity to see what he can do when he's healthy. I think that I think that judging Baker Mayfield, guy that tore his left shoulder and fractured his arm, I think judging him off of that is not practical. But like I said, there were 3 quarterbacks on my list. I said there's only 3 quarterbacks you can replace Baker Mayfield that would be acceptable, and that's Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson. And 2 of those 3 guys are off the list, and that leaves you with Deshaun Watson. And I do think the Browns are going to make a move on him. I'm not sure they're going to get him or not, but it wouldn't surprise me.
I think the Seahawks have a pretty good case here, to be honest with you. Like, after trading that haul for Russell Wilson, I wonder, do the Seahawks really think that they're rebuilding, or are the Seahawks expecting to go into like a 14-year rebuild cycle or whatever, especially with 70-year-old Pete Carroll as the head coach? I don't know that. Russell Wilson wanted out, so you kind of got to get Russell Wilson out and kind of, get compensation for him, while he still has the compensation value. So I'm thinking that they're going to flip a lot of what they got for Russell Wilson for Deshaun Watson, and then they're just going to keep going and trying to win with Deshaun Watson, which I'm not here to really analyze whether that's a good move or not. But I think it might make sense that it would be the move that would make the most sense for them. And I think Seattle has more capital than anybody right now. So I would think Seattle would probably make the most sense.
I think one thing that Cleveland have an advantage of is they could give Texas a head start in the quarterback search. And you go like, hey, Texas, we have this guy and Baker Mayfield. Here go some draft picks. Here go Baker Mayfield. Give him a year. Why don't y'all see what y'all can do with him? If y'all think that he's the one, if y'all think that he's a viable quarterback, to build around him. And I think that might have some intrigue, because I think a lot of people, there are people in the league who still believe Baker Mayfield is a franchise quarterback, and there's people in the league who think that he was just hurt. So there is that value that they can trade, that they can still get a starting quarterback back from that trade. So I do think that it does give the Browns the advantage in the trade market, because they have a quarterback in value that they could trade in the Texans to get Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, but why would the Texans want Baker Mayfield? Because it seems like they like Davis Mills pretty good. Like, I mean, he had a solid rookie season. Seems like they're wanting to give him another year, and then why would they bring in Baker Mayfield when all you have is his 5th year? Like, that's the only time you'd have him under contract. Why would you bring him in for when you're thinking that Davis Mills is going to be your quarterback?
I mean, if they think Davis Mills is their quarterback, then they wouldn't trade for Baker Mayfield. You're right. I'm under the impression that Baker Mayfield is better than Davis Mills, but I was told that Baker Mayfield is the worst quarterback in the league on Twitter about 5 times a day.
That's obviously a little ridiculous.
Have you been on Browns Twitter?
I have not. The only Browns stuff, the only Browns fans that I've been regularly reading a lot of that stuff is that Facebook group that you invited me to, and every day I'm just reading that group, and I'm just like, man, I see why Thomas gets pissed off. What the hell?
I'm so happy I added you to that group. Man. Honestly, you know what? Look, Bengals fans should adopt me, because I don't think I said one negative thing about the Bengals all year. I think you said more negative things about the Bengals than I have this year. Like when I remember I was in the Bengals Browns game, and the people were sitting next to me while we were smoking y'all. This is a great game. I was sitting there telling them how good their team was. Oh yeah, I'll be fine, man. I was sitting there talking about how good Jamar Chase was and why I like Jamar Chase, and like I was sitting there breaking down the game, like, oh, but you gotta realize, like, not only you got this Jamar Chase, you got this boy T Higgins up here running these routes to a T. That's why they call him T Higgins, because he run the routes to a T. And then, yeah, they enjoyed me. This girl was sitting next to her brother or her boyfriend. I couldn't tell, but she was definitely flirting with me. He ain't as hot as me. He got that Cincinnati juice, but he don't got that Cleveland juice. Anyway, in closing though, would I take Deshaun Watson over Baker Mayfield? Yes, I would. But canceled. So I'm going to say this. Baker Mayfield, less of a headache. Okay, there we go. That's gonna bite me on the ass in 10 years.
See,
That's gonna bite me in the ass in 10 years.
I just fundamentally disagree with that statement. I don't think that I think that Baker Mayfield is more of a headache than Deshaun Watson, because Baker Mayfield's got, like, Baker Mayfield kind of takes everything on the planet personally and he lets it out. Like, he's a very dramatic human being. And I like Baker Mayfield, but he's also a very dramatic human being. Deshaun Watson, outside of two issues that, like I said, I don't think are going to follow him, outside of those two issues, Deshaun Watson's like a model citizen.
No, he's a great dude. He's a great dude. He's a great dude. He's I'm trying to be real careful here.
No, I understand you're trying to be careful. I'm just saying, like, I don't think you would have. I don't think anybody right now has any legitimate reason to be worried about Deshaun Watson being like a cancer in the locker room or anything like that.
I don't think he'd be a cancer in the locker room. I think he'd be a leader. I think that he would galvanize the moment. I think he will embrace Cleveland. I think Cleveland will embrace him. I think Cleveland, I think Deshaun Watson. The other option with the Steelers. God, I hope that don't happen.
Well, we'll actually talk about. We'll talk about that at the end of the episode. But before we move on to the Bengals, though, I want to give you a chance, Thomas, because we didn't do an episode last week and we missed a golden opportunity here. But we're here now, so let's talk about it. I know you wanted to get something off your chest about Carson Wentz, so go ahead. Carson Wentz got traded to the Washington Commanders, which is still weird to say, Washington Commanders. Carson Wentz got traded to the Washington Commanders and will be the first quarterback of the Washington Commanders. They got traded for like a second-round pick.
First of all, they had a great name already. I'm gonna sound like these. I'm gonna sound like Clevelanders. They had a great name already. They should have never changed the name from Washington Football Team to Washington Commanders. Like, how dare y'all?
I totally agree. I thought Washington Football Team was great.
Like, not my football team. The Washington Commanders is not my football team.
Well, they weren't anyway, but
yeah, whatever. So anyway, Carson Wentz, though, right? This guy, right? This guy, right? He goes from North Dakota State, the Youngstown State rivals, be whooping on my beloved Penguins for 4 straight years, and then he goes to Philadelphia, loses starting job to a backup quarterback. The backup quarterback wins the Super Bowl. You're supposed to be the chosen one. Well, the chosen one don't let his backup quarterback win a Super Bowl for him, and then you get traded to the Colts. And then you had this good season to the point where I'm actually like, you know what? I'm going to shut up. And then you choke against the Jacksonville Jaguars. You're supposed to be the chosen one, Carson. Like, dude, you take more L's in your career. Like you take more L's in your career than a circle have left turns.
Well, I think about it. Functionally, a circle would only have one left turn, right? Because you never stop.
A square. You take more L's in your career than a square have left turns.
Well, he's definitely lost more than 4 games.
It's one thing.
I'm just being difficult.
It's one thing to lose a game, but to take an L though, right? To take an L, right? Like, look, this dude freaking lost his starting job to Nick Foles, right? Gets it back somehow, and then loses the injury, get traded to the Colts, a team that went to the playoffs last year, and then he lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like, how hilarious is it that you lose to the Jacksonville Jaguars for the playoffs? The team that had freaking Urban Meyer twerking on people. You suck, Carson Wentz. All right, I'm done. Thank you for that moment.
There it is. That's all I wanted to hear. That's all I wanted to hear.
I'm just happy I get to stay. I was actually worried that he would be somebody's backup, and I wouldn't be able to say that he sucked for one more year, and it was just over. But no, thank you, Washington. What are they called? The Commanders.
Commanders, yeah, that's what they're called now.
Commanders, I appreciate y'all for saving Carson Wentz's career and saving my one-liner. You suck, Carson.
All right. So I guess that's as good of a transition into the Cincinnati Bengals as any. The Bengals, as far as the rumor mill goes, and obviously, when is it like NFL free agency starts?
Legal temperature starts Monday.
On Monday? Okay, yeah. So it starts in 5 days. So we still got a little bit of time before anything official can happen. But the Bengals are definitely active on the rumor mills. It sounds like the way people are making it sound. And we got people like, Adam Jones. We got people like, we got people across the league saying this is definitely going to happen. With all of the buzz surrounding it, it sounds like it definitely it's basically already a done deal, which I don't know how it can be a done deal when like you're like legally not supposed to be talking to anybody right now anyway. But supposedly, former Buccaneers center Ryan Jensen is expected to be one of the first free agency signings of the Bengals this year. So that's plus one offensive lineman. And if you know, Thomas, I think you remember, the Bengals were 85 seconds away from winning the Super Bowl. The only reason they didn't is because the offensive line finally was too much for Joe Burrow to handle.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is upgrade the offensive line a little bit, and I think Joe Burrow can go win us a Super Bowl. What I think's actually going to happen is I think the Bengals are going to throw the farm at fixing the offensive line. And we might bring in a cornerback or two. We talked about it, I think, on the last episode, and also I put out a free agency video on my channel. So I'm not going to go get like super deep into the weeds about everything that they could do to like fix the team and whatever. But it sounds like Ryan Jensen is pretty much a done deal. On top of that, there's a lot of buzz surrounding La'el Collins, the Dallas Cowboys tackle. I want to say I forget exactly off the top of my head. It probably makes me look stupid, right? I should probably know if I'm going to be talking about it. But point being, La'el Collins is on the trade block for the Cowboys, and it sounds like I haven't heard any like confirmation that the Bengals are actually planning on trading for him, but it does sound like there's a lot of buzz that the Bengals could be interested. Now I'd be a little surprised because that's a pretty hefty price tag for him. Something like $14 million or something like that. Or was it 17? I think it might have been 17. Just seems like a lot of money when I don't know. I guess it depends on what they do in free agency, and it depends on a couple other different things. But man, I'll tell you what, if we get just La'el Collins and Ryan Jensen, you give me those two guys, I'm cool. Because I mean that means we're gonna have probably I don't know, like either La'el Collins or Jonah Williams at right and left tackle. I don't really know which one it would be. And then you're bringing in Ryan Jensen at center, and then the guard positions you still got to kind of figure out. But I mean, you got Quentin Spain, who's going to be pretty good, and then the other guard position, we'll figure out. We might maybe send Riley Reif. Well, you have to re-sign Riley Reif first, but put him in on the inside, and then maybe Jackson Carman, because they sound like they're still confident that Jackson Carman could mature and do pretty well there. So I don't know exactly what they're thinking, but if you get Ryan Jensen and you get La'el Collins, which again, I don't even know if they're actually looking at La'el Collins, but I do know that they're going to make multiple signings on the offensive line. I can't imagine they're going to do anything else than that.
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, to tell you why the thing is that you can't talk to players, like general managers can't talk to players, but they can talk to agents. Hey, yeah, I had Mr. Gurdale, I wasn't talking to so-and-so player. We were just chilling at a pool party together. We just happened to talk business. You can't stop. You can't stop me from eating cake with so-and-so's agent. All right, I can't talk to Lionel Collins on the phone. But you know what I mean? Hey, man, me and the agent, same goddaughter. Man, we at the party. We chill at the party. We chat this quintietta. drinking some martinis, talking about some football. Oh, hey, what do you know? Hey, look, you know, how about this $15 million contract? Next thing you know, Monday rolls around and he's signed. ESPN report. First free agent sign in 21 seconds. How did they make a deal in 21 seconds? Quintietta. Chuckle, Kyle. Now I'm going to chuckle. Even a chuckle in that one. Not even a chuckle. I need to blow my nose. We edit this out. We blow my nose. I mean, but anyway, like you said though, the Bengals. Get back on the series. No, the Bengals, like you said, the Bengals were literally our offensive line away from winning the Super Bowl. And like, you know, I mean, I don't think it's going to be that simple next year because like the Browns were one stop away from beating the Chiefs last year. And then, you know, Baker Mayfield turned his shoulder. So you never know what's going to happen in the NFL from year to year. So, you know what I mean? Like, you know, but theoretically, the Bengals are going to be good for a very long time. When you have Joe Burrow quarterback and you have Jamar Chase as your receivers and you have that defense, they're going to be good for a very long time. So I wouldn't, like you said, just good offensive line, protect Joe Burrow, make sure he doesn't get blasted and killed no more. And let's protect them. Keep on making those deals at those Quintietas. Happy birthday, Pablo.
Yeah, the rebuilding the offensive line is really going to be key. I will say they do need to make some additions on defense, though, because, like, I mean, the defense is really good, but there's still some things that need done. So, like, you know, Eli Apple, whether you bring him back or not, cannot be your starting number 2 cornerback. Just can't be a thing. You can't have Eli Apple as the guy you're relying on. So I'm thinking if you can fix the offensive line in free agency, then you use that first round pick on a cornerback, you know. But can we talk real quick, Thomas? I just want to point out how much of a gigantic improvement the Cincinnati Bengals linebacker core has had. And that's a big part of the reason why the defense has taken off like it has, is because the linebackers are playing like the linebackers a couple of years ago. The guys we had playing at linebacker were scrubs. It was a gigantic hole on this team. We had no idea how we were going to fix this defense because the linebackers were so bad. But we drafted Jermaine Pratt a couple years ago, Logan Wilson 2 years ago, Akeem Davis-Gaither, Marcus Bailey, all recent draft picks. We got Joe Bachie on waivers, who we actually just re-signed, by the way. Actually just like an hour or two before we started recording, news about that actually just broke. Wow, 7 hours before we started recording. Wow. So I just found out about it about an hour before we were recording, but apparently it happened 7 hours before. But yeah, Joe Bachie's back. And that's awesome as a depth signing, right? So it's like Joe Bachie ain't going to be winning us any Super Bowls, but Joe Bachie might be able to fill in for a guy and not be the reason we lose the Super Bowl, which is huge for, you know, depth guys like that. Like if you're good enough to not lose a Super Bowl, then, you know, you can potentially do something with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you guys are
Prince.
You guys are right there, man. You guys are really right there. And they got some swagger. They're not afraid of anybody in the AFC North. You know, they're gonna get that new stadium soon. So, you know, they're you know, they got swagger.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about a new stadium. Like, you know, maybe in like 5 years.
Yeah, I mean that's soon enough. Like, you know, 5 years really not long. Hey, you better get ready for that.
Actually, I don't even know if we're going to be getting a new stadium. What needs, like, the stadium lease runs up in 2026, but Paul Brown Stadium's in pretty decent shape, so I imagine they'll probably just, you know, rework a deal to refund the stadium and make some renovations and stuff like that. But I'd be pretty surprised I'd be pretty surprised if they want to build a whole new stadium because Paul Brown Stadium is in pretty decent shape.
I can tell you though. I can tell you this though. I can tell you the Browns got a new stadium coming. I can tell you that because I have I kind of have friends in like city planning and stuff, and there's something in the works that I don't nobody like. There's something coming. That's all I got. There's something coming. So it's either a renovation or a state or a new stadium, but something's coming. They're plotting something. They're plotting something. So I can tell you that's coming. But that's been in the works for the last 3-4 years. So if they've been planning it that long, they're probably going to build something new.
If the Bengals want to convince the fans to re-up their lease for Paul Brown Stadium in 2026, I think a really good way to start with that would be to re-sign Jesse fucking Bates. Okay, these games that we're playing, I don't know. I don't know if what he's asking
pay the
for
man.
is completely pay the man. I don't know if what he's asking for is completely unreasonable and unrealistic and whatever. I cannot think of any reason why this man hasn't been paid because he was an all-pro just like a year ago. This year, he took some time to kind of get going, but once he got going, that dude was on fire. And you want to talk about a locker room leader, the kind of guy that embodies everything that this coaching staff is trying to build the roster around. One of the guys who was a big reason why the Bengals had near perfect attendance in OTAs. It was because of guys like Jesse Bates who were like, being leaders of the team, being like, all right, guys, let's get together. We can make this happen. We can do this. And you're telling me you're not going to reward that guy? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. The franchise tag's a lot of money, right? But the franchise tag, it's not the same thing as rewarding rewarding one of the, best players at his position in the NFL. You give him a long-term contract extension. You give him a reason to believe that he's going to be here for a while. And, he's got to want to be here for a while because he's from Fort Wayne, Indiana. His family is just, a hop, skip, and a jump away. So, yeah. I mean, the one thing is the agent that he's working with is known for being a guy who, gets, his players paid, more than anybody else. If you hire this guy, it means you're trying to get the most money no matter what. But, dude, I'm angry at the Bengals for not getting the deal done, but I'm also kind of speaking to Jesse Bates here, come on, dude. Is it really worth that extra, percentage point of the salary? I mean, maybe talk to your agent. I don't know. Do you want to be here or do you not want to be here? I don't know. I don't know the situation. I'm not trying to sit here and speak on things that I don't know about, but I am saying Bengals, get your head out of your ass. And Jesse Bates, was that agent really the move for what you wanted to do? I don't know.
Is Cincinnati technically a tri-state area? I've been wondering about that. Do y'all consider it the tri-state area? Like when Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb be like, "I'm going to take over the tri-state area." Was he talking about Cincinnati?
Oh, you mean the show?
Phineas and Ferb. Yeah, Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated. Doofenshmirtz. Be battling Perry the Platypus.
No, that show came out when I was in college. Yeah.
It was out a little earlier than that. It came out 07?
Yeah. No, and it did not come out in 07, 08.
Yeah.
It came out in 2000. It came out in 2011, dude. I think. I could be wrong.
I was in middle school when that show came out. I know you're not that much older than me.
Okay, apparently original release started in 2007. I don't remember that at all.
I
do not remember that at all. I do not remember Phineas and Ferb being on Disney Channel in 2007.
Maybe we're from two different universes. Maybe it's the Mandela effect thing.
I don't know.
It's Bears staying Bears. I don't know. I don't know the difference. I can never pronounce it anyway. Anyway, that not being here or there. Going back to the Bengals though, going to focus on the Bengals and paying Jesse Bates. Pay the man. Pay the man.
Yeah, pay the man.
Take
the money. Just whatever we need to do to get Jesse Bates locked down. Because again, I know he didn't exactly have the best regular season in 2021, but the Bengals don't make it to the Super Bowl without that guy. I promise you that. And if you want this team to build long-term success, you've got to you built this team off of guys who are playing for each other, off of guys who just want it for each other and for that camaraderie and everything like that. And if you take one of the kingpins of that camaraderie out, the whole thing comes tumbling down. So pay the man and take the money. Both of you. Get your shit together, both of you.
My money. You better have my money. I'm in a weird mood today. I've been drinking a whole bunch of like freaking cough medicine and stuff. And, cough medicine be getting you all loopy and stuff. Like your brain don't be like on the same level when you drink all that cough medicine and stuff. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm like on a weird mood, man. I might as well, so I might as well drink alcohol. I've been drinking like 3 days, 4 days. 2 days. And, I'm just sick, and then I'm already drinking this cough medicine, and it's like alcohol.
All right, so that's pretty much all I got for that. I
got one more thing I want to say. We missed this though. A couple notes on the Browns, roster front. For one, they did franchise tag David Njoku. I'm not sure if you heard about that.
Yes, they did.
They franchise tagged David Njoku. Now that was big because obviously, Njoku is probably one of the highest upside tight ends you have. What it means for Alex Hooper, it probably means that they might consider releasing him. So there's that. Also, you got the other big news is that the franchise tender, I think they is called Dearness Johnson, where they can match any deal that any team offers him.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there's that. So it looks like Dearness Johnson's coming back, but it might be that we might see Kareem Hunt get traded. Maybe, hopefully not. I like Kareem Hunt a lot, but it could be spelling the last days for Kareem Hunt.
I always thought it was kind of weird to have because Kareem Hunt is a starting running back, Thomas. I always thought it was kind of weird that you had Kareem Hunt playing behind Nick Chubb. That was just seemed real weird to me.
I mean, it was a lot of talent on the field. They're really good when they're both on the field. If you can
pull it off, then good on you. I'm just saying, I'm surprised that he did that.
They're both hurt all season, though. Unfortunately, they're never on the field.
Yeah, that's
time.
true.
When they're on the field at the same time, it's nasty.
All right, so state of the AFC North.
Oh yeah, let's get into this.
You got anything you want to say about the Ravens first off? Because I don't really have anything particular to say about the Ravens.
Yeah, okay. So Lamar Jackson, I don't know if you heard about this about Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson hasn't been answering calls from the Ravens, and
I did hear about that. As
you know, it is contract time for Lamar Jackson. So I just think this is very good because now we're fine. Look, this is funny actually. This is actually very funny. I was listening to I think it was a CBS roundtable. It was either a CBS roundtable or Fox roundtable, one of those two. And one of the sports networks, and they were talking about Lamar Jackson, and they were like, "Oh yeah, he was injured." And one brave soul out of the 5 people in that round table was like, "Hey, Lamar Jackson's stats been regressing over the last 4 years." I said that. Say that all year. And he said Lamar Jackson has 16 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Don't you think that they should be a little hesitant on giving Lamar Jackson that money? And everybody was like, no, Lamar Jackson won this magical award called the MVP. Supposedly, if you win the MVP, you're untouchable. Given all the poor playoff performances you have. Not forgiving the fact that you have regressed over the last 2 years, 3 years. Not forgiving the fact that defenses are adjusting to you. Not forgiving the fact that you did have 16 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. Oh, but Lamar Jackson was banged up last year. He was banged up last year. How come we won't get the same excuses to Baker Mayfield? I'm just saying. I don't know. I hate Lamar Jackson.
What is this?
I wonder what video I got. What video that was too. I wonder what roundtable was. As soon as I find it, Kyle, I'm sending it to you.
Yeah, I just saw somebody. I just saw it.
Oh, it was on Twitter.
Allegedly, relatively credible source say that Lamar Jackson and the Ravens just agreed on a 5-year extension, but I'm looking at these comments and they're like, no, that's not correct, which is unfortunate because, like I said, this guy appears to be a pretty, good, he appears to be an established journalist. So I mean, he's out here making shit up. That's not good for your career, homie.
I mean, I honestly do think that. I think that at the end of the day, it probably will end up extending Lamar Jackson. I think that's going to happen. I think they're going to agree to a deal. But and I hope that happens.
I think I have this feeling that Lamar Jackson's going to go down like the perpetual franchise tag route because you got to think like how he's been playing really outside of that MVP season. Not necessarily all that inspiring.
Yep.
And not to mention his playing style is the kind that's going to wear down over time. So do the Ravens really want to commit to a 5-year deal when they could like franchise tag him this year, and if he's worth bringing back again, they'll franchise tag him the following year. And by the end of that, he might not be the same player anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I wouldn't. I mean, personally, I wouldn't extend him. And I've been an avid Lamar Jackson hater on this podcast since day one. But I've been running the anti Lamar Jackson fan club population. Me, it's cool. You know what? Look, it's cool. Look. Here's one thing I love about sports is that over time rolls on, you become right.
Right.
Yep.
All right. So, lastly, let's talk about the Steelers. So, the most recent news surrounding the Steelers that I can find, and it's actually a pretty significant topic involving Deshaun Watson, is that the Steelers are allegedly have no interest in pursuing Deshaun Watson. Zero.
Oh, look at that.
So, most recently, I'm seeing a tweet from Jason LaCanfora, who I believe is from NFL Network, pretty highly respected over there. CBS Sports, not NFL Network, but yeah, he's pretty highly respected.
Yes.
If he tweets something, he's done his research, and so the Steelers, according to him, the Steelers are quote not going to be part of this Deshaun Watson pursuit. So, sounds like Deshaun Watson, if he's coming to the AFC North, it's going to have to be the Browns. I kind of, like I said, I kind of have a feeling. To me, it seems like Seattle makes the most sense. Carolina is another team that I've heard has been really, really, really zeroing in on getting Deshaun Watson. The only thing about Carolina is Deshaun Watson does have a no trade clause. He can veto it if he gets traded to somewhere that's not necessarily all that much better than Houston. And Carolina's kind of a mess right now. Now, not that Seattle's not, kind of in a mess, but they're not the same level of mess that Carolina is. Like, you plug in someone like Deshaun Watson to Seattle and, have a decent offseason, I think Seattle can come back and be competitive. But yeah, it sounds like the Steelers are not in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, which is kind of funny because, like I said at the top of the episode, their quarterback options are drying up. And so who's going to be the quarterback next year? Might be Mason Rudolph. That thing that that Kevin Colbert said kind of offhandedly, we might be preparing for Mason Rudolph to be our quarterback next year. That might actually have to happen because none of these quarterbacks in the draft are ready to start in the NFL right now. You know, Russell Wilson went to the Broncos. Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay, and I already mentioned this, Thomas. Like I didn't think that, like, even if Aaron Rodgers did leave Green Bay, I don't think he wanted to go to Pittsburgh anyway, because Pittsburgh. Yeah. People keep talking about Pittsburgh's ready to win now. They just need a quarterback, and I don't agree with that at all. I think, like, I think Pittsburgh has a lot of holes. I think part of the reason that the Steelers did what they did last year was partially because Ben Roethlisberger just has this uncanny ability. And it's part of the reason why he's a Hall of Famer. Ben Roethlisberger has this uncanny ability to make things happen out of nothing. And I don't know how he does it, but it doesn't matter if he's, like, you know, morbidly obese and has no throwing arm left at all. It doesn't matter. He's got some sort of magic about him that makes him pull this stuff off. But if you don't have Ben Roethlisberger, nothing on the Steelers works. So, you know, I promise you, if Aaron Rodgers were to go to Pittsburgh, he would not win anything in Pittsburgh. And I think Aaron Rodgers knows that. And so I think even if he wasn't leaving Green Bay, I didn't think he wanted to go to I didn't think he would have wanted to go to Pittsburgh, because it's going to take Pittsburgh a couple of years to get to the point where you can plug and play any quarterback and then they'll win. Aaron Rodgers doesn't necessarily have that much time left.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers don't really scare me. No. Aaron Rodgers does scare me, but no, he doesn't. Honestly, he doesn't. Him nor Russ really scares me for real. Cause honestly, on the low, like, Aaron Rodgers had all of those great teams, and what have you really done with them? And like, now going back to the Packers, okay, but like, you know, like, how many great teams that, like, Aaron Rodgers had a lot of great teams that he choked. We're going to look at Aaron Rodgers like, dude, you choked. Well, maybe it's Steelers. It's probably better for the Steelers long term, but they didn't get Aaron Rodgers. Like,
well, yeah, because it would have crippled them in their ability to rebuild around Aaron Rodgers.
It would have set if they got Aaron Rodgers, if the Steelers got Aaron Rodgers, like you said, they have so many holes. If they got Aaron Rodgers, they would have been salary cap hell for one. They would have had nothing to build a team around him for two, and three, they would have got rid of all the draft picks in the future. So not only would they have delayed the rebuild another 2 years because they got rid of all the draft picks, but they would have committed to Aaron Rodgers, and they would delay the start of the rebuild. So they would literally set themselves up to be mediocre to bad team for the next 8 to 10 years. Now, what the Steelers are doing now, they're starting to rebuild now, which allows them to start the clock now. Rebuild in the NFL will be 2 years if you do it right.
Yeah, if you do it right. Although I will say, with this whole weird thing where Kevin Colbert is going to do the offseason and then retire, is kind of weird. Like, it's like okay, so you've got this guy who's making the decisions for the team going into starting a rebuild, and then he's gonna dip at the end of the year.
Yeah, like, I mean,
so are they gonna have to rebuild again next year?
I was going to do the same thing. He did what he did when he drafted Lamar Jackson. He's like,
and look at the state of the Ravens.
Sure.
Like, I mean, the Ravens, as much as, like, you know, people keep saying they're going to be competitors year in and year out, where have they been?
First round exit.
Exactly, and at best. You know, every year I've heard.
Go ahead and extend Lamar Jackson, please.
It's not like a concourse of Ravens fans. It's obvious it's a minority of Ravens fans saying this, but every year at the end of the year, lately I'm hearing Ravens fans talking about moving on from John Harbaugh. So you sit there and tell me that the Ravens are doing well lately. They're not.
Please extend Lamar Jackson. I'm begging y'all, please extend Lamar Jackson. Please give Lamar Jackson a 5-year extension, $125 million. Please make Lamar Jackson one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. Please do that for me.
I was thinking 10 years, $600 million.
Oh, dude, that would be so hilarious if they did that. Like, at the very least, though. At the very least. Do y'all really think Lamar Jackson can keep that athleticism up into his 30s?
No.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I like I'm 28, Cal. And like you said, Thomas, I'm about to hit 30, and then like you said to me, like when you fall, it's different. And like whatever. Another day, I played ultimate frisbee. I'm 28, man. I just turned 28. My birthday was February 22nd, 2022, 2022, whatever. Anyway, played ultimate frisbee the other day. Love ultimate frisbee. I was playing. I was messing around with these fools. I went for a little dive, and I was like, "That hurt." Ow, that hurt. That was a and I had fun. Like I was still athletically as strong as I was. Still could run as fast as I can, jump as high as I can, all that stuff. But it hurts when I fall. I second guess jumping and more. I'm like, let me think about diving because that hurts a lot more than it used to. It hurts a lot more than it used to. And it hurts a lot longer than it used to. And that hot bath, man, it's not just a hot bath away. It's a hot bath, a nice breath. My tailbone still hurts. Age just sucks.
Yeah.
Agent just sucks.
You got anything else for this episode, Thomas?
Carson Wentz suck. Ben Roethlisberger, you suck. Pittsburgh sucks. Kennywood sucks. He is. Yeah, that's true. See what I miss. Dearness Johnson is the better than Kareem Hunt. David Njoku is the best tight end on the Browns. Baker Mayfield is a franchise quarterback. And Joe Burrow's a beast. Jamar Chase is that boy. It's called Louisville, not Laville. Freaking Southerners.
I went to Kentucky last week, and I went around asking people. I literally, Thomas, I went to
I'm mad with that answer, guy.
Kentucky. I went around to an open air market in Kentucky, and I asked everybody, how do you pronounce the name of the biggest city in this state? Every single one of them, Thomas, every single one said Louisville. I asked them, I said, I got this friend. He thinks that it's pronounced Louisville. And every single one of them looked like they wanted to smack me in the mouth.
Look, man, I'm not taking advice from Southerners. I'm sorry. Like, I just do not listen to Southerners. Well, they're Southerners.
It's their city. You feel how you want to feel about Southerners, but it's their city. They get to decide the name.
God dang, Southerners. Yeah, I'm saying it. We're going to call me a Yankee? A Yankee? God dang Yankee. I ain't no Yankee. I'm a Guardian.
I'd prefer to be a Red Sox, personally.
God dang, Southerners.
Or I guess, you know what? Actually, you know what I'd rather do? I'd just rather not watch baseball.
Hey, man, it was locked out for a little bit. It's just recently.
I literally don't care. I guess I care, like, for the sake of the people who like baseball. I don't hate baseball so much that I don't want them to have their sport. I just don't care.
Dude, but you got the Reds though, man. How do you hate baseball so much when you have one of the most historical baseball teams? But the Reds are literally one of the most historical baseball teams.
Yes.
Aren't the Reds loved more in that town than the Bengals are, if I'm not mistaken?
By far, without a doubt. The Reds are like culturally intertwined in this city. I have no issue.
Beautiful baseball park.
History. I'm interested in the analytics, et cetera, et cetera. But watching baseball is a chore.
I love baseball. I mean, you watch it. I mean, like the Guardians. I almost said it. The Guardians have a pitcher that can throw a 102-mile cutter. 102-mile cutter. You know how impressive that is?
No, I don't
100. Now, go watch it. Go in person and watch a closer. Just watch a closer throw 100. Baseball pitchers are throwing balls at 100 miles per hour right now. Y'all got a pretty good pitcher in Cincinnati right now. I can't remember his name though.
I remember we had that one guy.
Trevor Bauer.
No. We had that one guy a couple years back who we traded to the Yankees.
Oh yeah,
The Cuban Missile.
Yeah, freaking Chapman. Oh, Chapman.
Yeah, Aroldis
He
Chapman,
literally,
yeah.
he literally not playoffs 2 years in a row. The Yankees went to the Cubs.
Yeah, I don't. I can't stand behind it. Like I don't even like baseball, and I still hate the Yankees. That's how much the Yankees suck.
Yeah, we hate the Yankees. Goddamn Yankees!
I just this is part of why I don't like baseball. You know, like I don't like it when teams can just buy their ways to wins.
But you got to realize though, the Yankees haven't won. The Yankees haven't won a World Series in 15 years, and it's actually been the small markets that's been dominating baseball.
Well, that's fair enough, but I will say though, if you're gonna have a setup like they do in baseball, where there is no salary cap and teams like the Yankees historically can just buy 27 championships, and which is just an insane, ridiculous number. If you're gonna have that, you at least got to have some way to make the lesser teams interesting. Like, do like the British Premier League where you have like promotion and relegation. It's like maybe you're not going to win the championship, but at least there's something interesting to play for.
They should have a salary floor. They should have a salary floor. But the argument that baseball would throw back at you is they had the most diverse group of champions in the last 10 years out of all the major sports, which is true. They have. No team in baseball have won back-to-back championships since, I believe, the 90s.
I'm not against back-to-back championships. Like that's
no, me neither. But there hasn't been
dominant for me. I personally found the Patriots' run of domination fun, but part of it is because the Patriots like organically built that thing.
Well, I mean, you had the Cavs and the Warriors, and that was the Cavs-Warriors rivalry. They went to 4 straight finals, and those 4 finals were 4 of the most watched finals in NBA history. Like, you're talking about like going comparison with the Bulls finals and the Lakers-Celtics finals. Like the Cavs-Warriors finals were right there behind all of those.
Yeah,
2016 is regarded.
Fun? You know what was the most fun championship for me to watch in the NBA, Thomas?
2016.
At least recently.
2016.
No.
2016 was good at the finals.
No, I was gonna say
I'm biased.
The Bucks winning.
That on the low, that was great
because that's actually interesting.
Yeah, I actually had a good kick out of that because last year the NBA was wide open. Actually, we're in a really fun time in the NBA where it's very wide open. In fact, it's actually pretty cool in all major sports. And I will say this, and I will clap back a little bit on what you said about the Yankees. There's one thing that you're starting to see that's true in major sports that we haven't seen that was true when we were kids. Was when we were growing up in sports, is you say, hey, if you're not New York, Miami, or LA, you have no chance to win a championship. Or in a city in Texas, you have no chance to win a championship in sports. Because if you're a smaller market city, free agents don't want to go there. They can't market themselves. There's no money in the free agent cities. And media come to life, and social media is allowing these small market cities to promote and put these players in front of cameras, no matter where they are. So, no matter so you have somebody like Giannis who's become an international sensation in Milwaukee.
Right.
Become an international sensation in Milwaukee. Could you have become an international sensation in Milwaukee in the 90s? No, you couldn't have. But this thing called social media allows Giannis to have such a broader audience and international brand. His brother's in front of international brand. And that's something that you ever see across all sports. Look what Joe Burrow's doing. Kid from Athens, Cincinnati, Ohio. You have all these people on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram talking about how they calling freaking Joe Burrow their daddy. Not me. I'm a straight heterosexual man. But there's plenty of other people who are. Plenty of other people are. If they want to do that, then good for them. But that's how Joe Burrow is becoming such a face of the NFL in a city like Cincinnati. And nothing against Cincinnati, but let's be real, it's not New York, it's not Miami, it's not LA. But the whole thing is that you're starting to see more variety in sports because of one, of social media, and also people are having access to these skills they never had before. It's a very unique time in sports where literally any city can win any championship. And that's actually what's exciting to me is how open all these leagues are right now. Because all three of them are pretty open right now. This is pretty exciting.
That's fair. But we're a little over an hour in at this point, so I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Battle of Ohio podcast, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully it was worth the 2-week wait. We are on single weekly episodes now that we're in the off season. Hopefully we don't miss too many more weeks. But yeah, we're still going to be here, and if we do miss a week, like I said, we're going to try to come back stronger next week, and we're just going to keep on chugging away. So thanks for listening, everybody. You can always catch more of what I do at Kyle Phelps 92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/The Phelps, my YouTube channel, which is Kyle Phelps. Go check that out. Because I'm still putting out content there. Even the week we missed last week, I had some content out on my YouTube channel. So, go check that out if you want to hear more about what I do with the Bengals and stuff like that. ATBnetwork.com for, being kind enough to, give us all this, like StreamYard and logos and stuff to work with. And they've been supporting us pretty well. So go give them a check out. Thomas, you can catch more of what he does at T_star94 on Twitter and Instagram. And his TikTok and YouTube are both called the Thomas J Network. Thomas, you just released an album, right?
It has not come out yet, but we delayed it for edits. We had to edit it. We've been doing some edits on it, but it will be out April 1st. It's the first time I announced that. That's kind of the big announcement. Album come out on the 1st.
There you go. You heard it here first, apparently. April 1st.
You heard it here first.
And then April 1st is going to come, and we're going to find out it was an April Fool's joke all along.
No. It's literally just one song at this point. It's literally just one song. Like we had everything done, and we just had to edit some stuff, and we were just like, it's not going to sound good if we put it out right now. We should probably just wait. And then we was like, we're going to delay it. We want to add a song, so we added a song to it.
All right.
And now we're trying to finish this last song. So I mean, it's almost done. It's a lot of work. So we just made 11 songs. A lot harder than I thought it would be.
All right. Well, like I said, that's pretty much it for this week, guys. So thank you for watching. Go subscribe on YouTube. Go follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And we'll catch you on the next one. I'll leave y'all with a Hoo Day.
Go Rouse.